Hey, who said you were allowed to snow? Not a lot, but it's first real snow I've seen this year.
Uh-oh, we're doing something again. What could it be? Suppose we'll have to wait and see. Good morning, it's still morning, and it's been a pretty good one so far, actually. I have fired up a 3D printer, as you saw. I printed off one little thing. I'm not going to go too far into what it is, because I may think about bringing back the 3D prints of the week thing. If I can come up with just a few relatively small things per week to do, that would be a good way to do it. And like I showed you first thing this morning, we did have a little bit, like this much snow, so it's gonna be melting off. And in a bit of a downside, we lost the Powerball, which I think, there's like 280 million people that can say the exact same thing. So we're not unique and not special in any way. We put a few bucks down on it just to give it a shot, and we'll probably put a few bucks down on it for the Wednesday one and until somebody wins it, because the next time is supposed to be like $1.3 billion. I'll put a couple of bucks toward that just on the... I think the way Will Wheaton put it worked best for me. How did he even say it? It's totally worth $2 to him to be able to have that kind of a fantasy, because he was throwing out things like, if I win this money, I'm going to buy a yacht, and I'm going to paint horrible things on the side of it so all the other yachts will be embarrassed by me, and I'll put a QR code that goes to a terrible porn site, and then I'm going to pull it into the harbor and I'm going to serve up a soup kitchen on it for all of the homeless people in the area. And he was saying that it's totally worth $2 to be able to live that little bit of a fantasy just for a moment. I can totally agree with that, because Christine and I, on the way home from the doctor the other day, we were going back and forth on the kind of things that we would do with that kind of money. We'd be able to help our family out, we'd be able to help our friends out to some extent, we'd be able to give to charities, and of course we'd be able to help our own little family survive long term while still ensuring that they have that working mentality, not the we have money so we don't have to do anything kind of mentality. Anyway, that's going to start an entire argument I don't even want to bother with. But it's a good day so far. I somehow managed to lose my wedding band very, very briefly there. As it turns out, I left it in my jeans and the jeans went through the washer. So it showed up on the other side, it was in the dryer, and this is not the first time this has happened. I have a tendency to wash my hands and take my ring off when I'm washing my hands, and then I'll put it back on afterwards, or I'll go to the bathroom and I take it off going into the bathroom. But I've found it every single time so far. And I've actually been very, very lucky. When we bought this ring back before we got married, I don't know, almost 12 years ago at this point, it's a titanium ring, but the company we bought it through offered us a lifetime sizing, cleaning, everything guarantee. And you can't size titanium. You can't cut it or anything, it's just too hard for that. So when I lost all of my weight, I ended up going back to the company and saying, my ring, it was a size like 9.5 or 10 or something like that, but my ring is way too big, can you fix this? And they measured me again, it's like, oh, you're like a size 7 now. So they ended up taking it away, giving me a brand new ring, so that worked out very, very well. But it is about time for lunch. Still trying to decide which video I want to do first. Some of you guys have mentioned that you really want to see the Raspberry Pi video. I'm thinking that's just going to be a very quick, short and sweet video, something to the effect of, I used to use this server for TTRSS, but I let it get woefully out of date, and now I'm using this. I'll somehow figure out a way to flesh that out and to be like a 3-minute video or something. So that might be a quick one I can throw together. But I've got so many other ones to do as well, and so little time. Always so little time. And the bad thing is, where I'm planning to do a once a week tech news video, if I bring back a weekly 3D printing video, that's 2 days out of 7 days of the week to make videos. And yeah, I could technically make everyday videos on that channel, but that would be ridiculously hard. Trying to do 5 to 7 videos a week on the main channel, with 7 videos a week on this channel, with 1, sometimes 2 videos a week on XDA, that's a lot of videos to make in a week, when a lot of people only do like 1 or 2 videos a week. Although the vlogs don't take me a huge amount of time, I don't know. Anyway, I'm gonna go check on my 3D print, because it looks like it may have stopped again. That's one of the reasons why I haven't been doing so much of this, is because it does just kind of fail from time to time. Yep, it failed. And you probably can't really see that, but there is a glob. There it is. A glob of 3D goo that it's just clogging it up entirely. And it's the exact same thing that happened on the last print, although I did get a successful one in between. You have got to be kidding me. I said it the other day, Casey he got his drone out and he finally started playing around with it a little bit. He went to Connecticut to spend some time with his family, to spend some time with his oldest son, and he does amazing things with it. Things that I wouldn't do. Look at that. It's flying it really close down over the water, up toward the Jeep, and then as you move along, they're driving toward it. He's capturing the actual movement shots of the vehicle with the drone while inside of the vehicle. Very cool. And that is very much why, between the low price point and the extreme ease of actually flying them, the era that we're living in right now is going to make for some of the most amazing cinematography ever, because you don't have to rent a helicopter, you don't have to rent a dolly, you don't have to rent any sort of really expensive equipment or pay tens and hundreds of thousands of dollars to get something that can do footage like that. The quadcopter that he's using costs like $1,200, and it was like $800 the other day. That's a ridiculously low point of entry into what is effectively professional level filmmaking. I love this. So, a bit of a random thought here, just going outside the box, as it were. I've got to come up with something to do about these lights. Because the way that I have things set up, you can see they're in exactly the same place they're always in, which makes it, well, it makes it just a little bit difficult to work with. There we go, taking a bit of a step back from it. Yeah, but because of where these are, if I want to film anything and have sort of a clean backdrop, I can't. Ideally, what I'd like to be able to do is clear this whole corner out, and in doing so, move the lights around so that they're over on this side. So what I'm thinking about doing, and this is sort of a DIY project, would be to build sort of a platform or something, like a wheeled castered platform to hold those. Or possibly, and this is a much more expensive option, buying a couple of new lights to put onto a platform like that. Because these, they're just a little bit big and bulky. I've been looking at some LED panels on Amazon that would be kind of expensive, but I could do it. And then if I could put them on a rolling platform, especially if I could mount the tripod in the middle of that, just to have one big movable rolling filming platform would be amazing. Because then anytime I wanted to film in a different room or something, just roll it in there, the entire thing. And I'd have to make it so that the tripod could be removed from the platform, so that if I wanted to position it differently and have the lights in one place, one way or the other, it's gonna lack some flexibility, but at the same time, it's going to provide me a whole lot more flexibility in here with the ability to actually move stuff about. Something I'm thinking about. Not something I'm going to do today. Obviously, I've got so much else to do. But if you've heard of anything like that, if you've heard of DIY plans, or maybe even a purchasable product that has light stands built into it or something, let me know. Because these just have traditional light stand mounts on them. I'm not even using the light stands that came with them, because the light stands that came with these are terrible. Really thin, really flimsy. These are the ones that came with my really, really old light kit that I bought a long time ago. So yeah, just kind of throwing that out there to the ether, to the you guys, to see if you have any clues or any ideas. Like I said, I could build a platform. The next time my dad comes in, we could go out and buy some casters and some wood at Lowe's and build either a plywood platform or something out of like 1x8s, 1x6, I don't know the wood sizes. Something thin and light and movable. Probably plywood. But I just thought I would throw that out there. And I have apparently thoroughly gotten myself back into the groove. 3D printer is coming along very nicely. I've gone ahead and downloaded a few more models, so I've got more things to print after these are done. I'm actually really looking forward to getting back into doing 3D printing now. When it works properly, it's actually a lot of fun. It's a hobby that I can really get behind. When it doesn't work properly, when things happen like have happened twice today, where it just completely clogs up, stops moving, starts talking about exceptions, and I can't even remember what the error message was, but it wasn't a pretty thing. When that happens, that's why I stop printing things. Either because I don't need the things that I'm printing. Like the things I'm printing right now are not going to be used for anything. They're going to sit on a shelf, or they're going to go in the trash, which sucks. Or they're going to get given away. But the other things that I'm planning to print are useful things, so those can actually be turned into other videos too. That's the thing though, you gotta make a bunch of things all at once, and then you can sort of stockpile it for making videos for the next few weeks. This is a plan. That makes all the difference. A random complete topic change here. I made a mistake a while back. When I tried to go to Slick Deals, I typed in slickdeals.net and somehow put an underscore in. And as a result, you get this webpage is not available. Sorry for the weirdness of the screen, just wanted to show this to you. But if you have a bad link in there like that and you want to get rid of it, you can actually move your little cursor down to it. And this one, it's not good anymore anyway, so I'm going to go ahead and remove it. Hold Shift, hit Delete, and then it goes away. Shift, Delete, goes away. Shift, Delete, goes away. And those things won't show up in your autocomplete anymore. Again, completely random thing, off topic there. Every time I was going to slickdeals.net, I was hitting on that slickdeals.net // which of course doesn't work. So very good to know that. Shift Delete when you've got your cursor over it. Not your mouse pointer, but your actual cursor. Looks like those Western Digital 5TB hard drives are on sale again. I do not need one at the moment, but it's tempting. $110 when for the 4 terabytes that I bought, I think they were like $110 a piece. So that's a really good price. And also the wireless outlets. I talked a while back about the wireless outlets I use on my lights now. They have a 5-pack with 2 remotes for $21.50. That's exactly why I came to Slick Deals, because I was just talking to Christina about it upstairs just a minute ago, that having those wireless outlets has been so handy that I wanted to go ahead and buy some more of them, and now maybe I will. And littlest man has just been kind of hanging out in here with me for a little while. Snoozing the day away. Although he was awake for a little while earlier. Of course, he did just fill his pants. It's about that time of the day, I guess. I do have to say, I haven't made a video about it yet, but this thing has been a lifesaver in a lot of ways. Well, it's a little while later. Been getting a little bit of work done, answering comments and emails, and oh no, little boy's starting to stir. Found out a little while ago we're gonna have some company tonight. Don't know if I'm gonna be able to turn the camera on while they're here or not, but I think you met them before. It's John and Kim. We've been friends with them for a long time now, and they're coming over to meet baby, and they're gonna be bringing dinner over, so woo! Although they're bringing pizza, so not so great for the losing weight thing. But we're doing good today. We're doing very well. Welcome back to the world. He's not gonna be real happy. I think somebody needs a new diaper. Is it you? Nope, back to sleep. I keep changing the focusing type on this camera and forgetting to change it back. I use AFS for when I'm focusing just on myself because it's a single point and it doesn't change. So if I move back, I go out of focus. If I move in, I'm out of focus to some extent. I've got a large range. But when I go to like family or to something facing on the other side, I set it to AFC so it's continually focus. But then I forget to change it back. Oh well. And from time to time it becomes really difficult to justify certain technologies. I've been looking at, like I said before, I've been looking at these wireless outlet things. It's got a remote, you turn it on, hello there. It's got a remote you can turn it on and off with. On Slick Deals, the Wemo switches, I think it's Belkin makes them. Wemo Insight switches, they monitor energy usage. They're $40 a piece. When I can get 5 of the ones with the remotes for 20. Nope. Even though it is an awesome, interesting technology that I could technically use for making videos again, I could control remotely what's turned on and what's turned off. I'm, in this case, not going to be controlling things remotely. If there were something like, if I needed to turn lights on and off and I wanted to be able to do that remotely, that would make sense. But actually, that's something I need to come back to. There's a video I need to make about a webcam. It's still sitting in a box over there, a security camera that has an IR blaster built into it. So technically, as long as it can see whatever else is in the room, it can turn it on as long as it has infrared. And they sent me a light bulb to go along with it. So in theory, I could leave it set up here in my office with one of those light bulbs in it and then use it to turn the light bulb on while we're away if we needed to. Just throwing that out there. Random thoughts, just random. Hello there. And they brought the pizza. Oh, tasty stuff. Thank you. Thank you guys. He is snoozing, because that's what he does. So that was a thing that happened. Good getting a chance to spend some time with some friends. We haven't seen them in quite a while, actually. And very nice of them to have brought dinner. I think, as I said that earlier, it's quite a bit later at this point. Duncan has already gone to bed. He was kind of wore out. They brought their kids along with them, and they played so hard the entire time. Ellis is absolutely exhausted at this point, too. Christina's in there feeding him at the moment. I'm not going in on that. Got the 3D printer running again. It actually managed to finish up a 4th item. I've printed 4 things today. Making really good progress, and I'm starting up a 5th one. Hopefully this works out well. This is a big one. This is going to take like 18 hours to print, so this was probably a mistake. But I figured it was worth a shot, and I'm actually going to be trying out using the GoPro Hero 4 Session as the time-lapse camera, because I figured out that you can actually plug it in USB while you're using it and keep it charged. So I can just have it there right next to the printer and have it doing the time-lapse, potentially at a much higher quality and much wider field of view than the previous thing that I've been using. But I do have the phone sitting right next to it doing a time-lapse as well, just in case. Never hurts to have a backup. I think I'm gonna go check on it real quick. Yep, everything going well so far. Just literally getting started. It's printing the raft at this point, so it's gonna be, like I said, 17 hours. I'm going to take quite a while. But I'm feeling good. I'm happy to be back in this. I'm still going to be on the lookout for things to print. If there's anything useful that you think of that can be 3D printing, let me know. I'm absolutely covered when it comes to things like phone stands and USB drive / micro SD / SD card holder and just so many other 3D printed things. If there's anything else you can think of that would be useful, usable, helpful in some way, definitely let me know. I have the micro 3D printer if you've missed out on that somehow. So I've also printed out some things that are like accessories for it. There was a spool holder for it I printed out right at the very beginning. There's a GoPro mount that I printed out for it earlier tonight that you'll get to see in a video coming up soon, hopefully. But there's just a whole world of things that I can print out there. It's just all a matter of finding the things that are useful, finding the things that are interesting, and also finding some of the things that are just fun. Well, that was pretty interesting. He had decided he wanted to be just super fussy for Christina. He was fighting with her. He was hitting her. Well, you know, he's a baby. He's just kind of flailing. But he was crying. He was screaming. And then she said, "You take him." I took him and I sat down and I just kind of calmly rocked a little. And as you can see, he's pretty good to go. He's got his little hand up by his face. He's chilling out, maxing, relaxing, all cool, and boy, I'm old. Anyway, I'm gonna keep him nice and calm, get him ready for bed. The way he looked at me just a second ago, I think he actually said, "Dad, you're really old." Yep, that's the thing. You're gonna see that as you grow up. Daddy's an old man. But anyway, it's time to get him in bed if we can, while I edit. I told Christina that's what I think he was saying. It's about 10:20. That's about the time he and I normally sit down at my computer and edit video. So we're in my office. We're gonna calm him down and get him ready for bed. Well, that's interesting. Interesting though. Well, I should probably go ahead and first mention the 3D print I was working on. Like I said, it was a 17-hour print. It failed. Luckily, it failed in the first few minutes. It does bring up an interesting point. All of the failures that I've had today have been the exact same failure. They've been the one I mentioned earlier where basically it starts printing the raft and then all of a sudden stops. And then it'll just form a ball of goo and just sit there in it, all while throwing exception errors to the actual print software. I probably ought to take that message and look it up, see if I can figure out what's actually causing it. My hair is bugging me. It's getting extremely long. Going to get it cut this week. But that one failed and I'm not about to start it again at 11 o'clock at night. But I'm also kind of glad it did. It gave me the opportunity to take a look at the time-lapse stuff I was working on with the GoPro. Did not realize the time-lapse on the GoPro is not actually a time-lapse. It's photos. And I did a little bit of math. Photos are about 2 megabytes a piece and it's a 32 gigabyte card. And just doing the math on it, I was taking a photo every 30 seconds. It was gonna do it at one every half second. But doing it every 30 seconds with that size of card, I could have filmed for a total of 4.5 hours, which means that it would have filled up the entire card before the night was even over. Whereas with the phone, doing it using the app, yes, it's all 1080p, yes, it's all lower quality, but at least it would not have filled up the phone overnight. I've allowed it to go for like 20-something hours straight, and it's still only like a couple of gigs maximum. To mess with my nose a little bit, I had a really bad nosebleed earlier, so that's definitely throwing me off a little bit. Not a big deal, just getting to be winter, dry air, all that stuff. Anyway though, like I said, I'm glad that failed when it did. It means I can come back to reality and try something different, something that's not gonna be a 17-hour print. Something a little smaller, something a little more manageable. And again, let me know what you guys think down in the comments. I'll be looking forward to that, because tomorrow morning I've got to go back into the office, so I'm not gonna be able to print anything then, and I've got a whole day of work and video making and whatever else to do. So I'll have time to think about it and I'll have time to read your comments and suggestions, so let me know down below. And I think I'm gonna get back to it. I've got loads and loads of video stuff that needs to get done. I've got to finish this video up so I can get to bed. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. Sorry that there hasn't been a whole lot of family in the video. There's just been a whole lot of me blabbing lately. But between the baby and just us spending so much time here in the house, there's a lot of redundancy. There's a lot of Duncan playing on his tablet, the two of them watching TV, and me walking on the treadmill. That's basically been our week for the last 2.5 weeks. So thank you guys for sticking around if you have. Thank you for spending the day with me and my family, even though again you didn't see a whole lot of them. We'll try to make it a point to include them more. And we will see you again tomorrow. Bye guys.